Alright, so today we're going to talk about circular gesture in piano technique. This is a really important concept that I find helps immensely with navigating passages. Oftentimes this circular gesture is used especially with broken chord or arpeggioed figures, but it can also be used in other types of passages, and we're going to look at a few different examples. So the basic motion is this kind of circular motion that we make with our arm and our wrist, like so. And it looks like this. Notice how the arm is moving down and up, circling around the axis of the keyboard, and the wrist and the hand, everything is following along with it. Notice also that it's not just a total circular motion, it's a little bit more of an ellipse so that the ends are a little bit smaller, like an egg shape sort of. And this helps with a couple things. The first thing is that when we have wide intervals and patterns, it helps so that the arm can shift laterally to help the fingers get to the notes that they need to play without stretching. And it also helps because it uses a continual motion. So when we play the piano, when we move in one direction, stop, and then have to move back in the other direction, that's a multiple movements to complete a task. Versus this circular motion gets us up to that high note and brings us down with one fluid motion. Alright, so let's look at a couple different passages. First passage that we're going to look at uses broken chord patterns that go up and down the keyboard. So notice how we go from this G major triad to a D dominant seventh, and then to a different inversion. So these are all made up of broken chords, and notice how there is some wide intervals, but also there's constant changes of direction. So that's the perfect time to use this motion so that we can combine one continuous motion throughout the whole passage. Now let's look at a different passage. We're going to look at the Chopin Etude Opus 25 number 1, which has even larger intervals in it. Notice how we have all of these wide intervals in the right hand that otherwise would require the hand to open wide, which is going to require a certain amount of tension in the hand. And especially in the left hand, where we have this interval of a tenth that we have to move back and forth to constantly. So not only does that circular continuous motion help that sound really, really smooth, but it also helps the arm move laterally so that the fingers don't have to stretch. Notice how this passage is an arpeggiated figure that goes to a high B and then a scale that comes down. This change of motion at the top is a good example to use that swinging around circle motion. And then we have this broken chord pattern, which also is greatly helped by this motion. With its rapid changes of direction and large intervals, it helps the arm carry across the intervals so that the hand doesn't have to stretch.